maybe let's kick off with intros. I don't know a bunch of you. You probably don't know me. That would be reasonable if you do. I'm interested in why and how. But yeah, I'll kick it off, and then maybe we'll just go popcorn style around, and then Taylor and I will go back to driving some of the at least initial thoughts, and we'll go a bit organically from there. Is that okay with y'all?
Totally.
Awesome. I'm Derek. I currently work at Broadcom. I have been driving this from our side to bring Concourse into the space, the CFF, and get this project back into a place where we could sustain community involvement and get kind of all the benefits all around from that. So we're happy that we've gotten this to the point where it's now here. Very, very small background is I was at Pivotal for a very long time where this project was incubated. I have never been on the Concourse team, but I've been using Concourse since its very, very naive moments, and so I have a lot of affection for the project, and I still get mad at a lot of the other CI/CD tools that I use, get forced into using from time to time. GitHub Actions, no respect for resource, so many feelings. A lot of good things, a lot of frustrating things. So it shaped my view of CI/CD, and yeah. I'm excited to be here, excited to move this thing forward and work with y'all on revitalizing the project. I'll go ahead and kick it over to Taylor.
Cool. Thanks, Derek. Yeah, most of y'all probably know me, or at least know of me at this point. Trying to be, I'm the lead maintainer of the project here, was on the Concourse team since 2018. Left VMware though in 2022, if my memory is serving me correctly, around that time, and then was just in and out doing stuff with the project, but not as active during kind of like that 2-year period. Kind of picked it back up in the last half of the year, of course, and just trying to, again, revitalize it, get the community going, and definitely seen a lot more of that, which has been super nice. Obviously, want to keep that momentum going. I got myself and a couple other co-founders that are trying to get a company going around Concourse and everything, with the goal and ambition of being able to staff a bunch of engineers working full time on it again, kind of like what was going on back when I was on the team in Pivotal. At its peak, there was like about 12 engineers working on Concourse at Pivotal, like especially around like 2018 to 2020, which was fantastic. So I'd love to get to something like that in the future, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Excited that at least Concourse is part of Cloud Foundry now and everything. I think it'll hopefully make it easier for people to contribute, add their voice to where they want to see Concourse going, especially for folks like you who are probably pretty big stakeholders of Concourse. So excited to work with y'all. I'll pass it over to Kalin.
Thanks. So, hello. Maybe in the popcorn principle wasn't so good because Hristo would have provided a much better introduction for us. But yeah, I'm Kalin. I have been a systems administrator for 2 or 3 years. Then I migrated to DevOps, shifting with the meta, and I've been a DevOps engineer since. That's like 4 or 5 years. I'm really passionate about development, of course, as many of us are. I still have a lot to learn because my background is the total opposite, the systems administration. But this, I think, brings me to a point where I understand problems that others don't and don't think of. So, yeah. For me, Concourse is the only CI/CD tool at the moment that I would gladly use. As Derek already mentioned, there's a lot of frustrating things around different CI/CD tools, and each has a part of the puzzle, but not the whole complexity. And for me, Concourse, with its flexibility around custom resources brings a lot of, you can solve a lot of those problems by yourself, just develop your own resource, and you can do pretty much anything from the CI/CD tool perspective. So that's my biggest passion. I've been using Concourse as a user for around 6 years, and we also administrate our own instances. So I have a little knowledge of that perspective as well. Yeah, for the popcorn principle, I'll pass it over to Ivan then, because let's leave Hristo last.
Hi everyone, my name is Ivan. I have experience in development for about 7 years, I think. I work in an SAP for 5 years. Then I leave the company, and now I'm in the company again as a DevOps engineer. And from the last year, I work in the Concourse part of the SAP Cloud Foundry Foundation, BTP. So yeah, I'm very excited to be part of the community and try to contribute. And yeah, can't wait to collaborate and learn from you.
Hey, maybe I'll go last then. Okay, hi guys. So, stop me at some point. I'm probably gonna go into some details. I'm currently in the role of a technical product owner, product manager, whatever you want to call it. In my heart, probably I'm still a developer. Who knows? I started as a developer something like 10 years ago with SAP, initially with some on-premise stuff. Then we migrated to the cloud of SAP, specifically in the Cloud Foundry part, where we worked on a service there, but that service was actually deployed with Concourse. Through time and the things, we somehow got to the situation where I was part of the Concourse team internally here. And our work actually currently with Kalin and Ivan and other members of the team is actually to deploy Concourse on those CF landscapes of SAP. So as an installation of Concourse, as instances go, they are quite the big instances, and we have over, I think at this point, 40 or 50 live instances, not including all the staging, canary, etc. environments. So we maintain a lot of instances of Concourse in a very big scale. Probably in the future we'll go into some details, but we have an interesting Concourse instance, which we call Central Concourse, and that actually deploys many other applications and services, and that thing has over 30 virtual machines at the moment as a board deployment. But yeah, we'll go into details at some point. So the whole situation around Concourse, with me at least, currently Concourse is very close to my heart, let's say, because for the past, I don't know, from 2016, I'm working with Concourse. From 2019, I'm part of this Concourse team, maintaining it. We've had our ups and downs. We were a big team at some point, and at some point it was just me and Kalin, and we were trying to handle all of those instances. And thank God it was Concourse instances, because those things were stable at the time, and somehow we managed. And in the past 2 years, when we saw the community going not in a good direction, let's say, it was bad for us as well. So we were relying a lot on that community in the past, and other people who were in my place as technical product managers, they were always relying on the community, and it was a very consistent community. Taylor, thank you for that one. But at some point, I guess the whole thing, everybody was relying on that, and nobody was so much contributing. So in the past 2 years, when that happened, we started working internally. Okay, how can we contribute? What can we do? And last year at CF Day, I was talking with Stefan Clevens and with Beihan and Ruben from Broadcom, and we started talking about Concourse. Okay, what can we do? That community needs to be revived. We cannot leave it. So then the discussion started, and when Taylor posted that blog post, and there was a small sentence that he was going to look for a foundation, I was like, okay, this is our chance. Let's do this. I mean, we can propose ourselves at least. we can do the bare minimum. And yeah, here we are. A couple of months later, I'm very glad to how things proceeded internally at SAP. At least this is a great momentum at the moment. This is great news, and we are just very happy that this happened. Of course, with Kalin and Ivan now, people who are mostly with dedicated resource towards Concourse. So yeah, we will do our best to contribute as much as we can, learn as much as we can. Of course, learn from our mistakes, because I'm sure that those will come. But definitely the most important part for me is that the motivation is very much here at SAP to continue with Concourse forward and even make it bigger internally from what it currently is. Yeah, that's for me.
Awesome. All right. That is introductions then. Cool. All right. Next item on the agenda that we have here, I guess, is what is this working group meeting? What are we gonna use it for? Yeah, because there are tons of things we could use it for right now. I see Derek wrote here like features, releases, meeting frequency. Yeah, maybe let's actually just get the simple stuff out of the way, because features releases are like I feel bigger questions. Let's just figure out meeting
Yes.
frequency. What do we want to do? Monthly, quarterly? Is this time okay? Yeah, what are we thinking, I
So
guess, between like a monthly or quarterly
for
working group
me,
meetings?
currently, being just my 5 cents on the topic, because we are currently very young, let's say, as a team, still knowing each other. Maybe even if we have it more frequently, let's say monthly, is good enough. I mean, to start with that, or of course, if we have a communications channel, I think we always have Discord, we always have GitHub, so those communication channels are great. But for a monthly meeting, at least at the beginning, is fine, and maybe we can revise it at some point if we need to. Maybe make it quarterly or something like that. But for me, yeah, monthly is good.
Yeah, I was already at the point where I was thinking at most frequently every other week, but between every other week and monthly. And again, like that's an early phase. Like it's really useful for maybe if we have a bunch of things that folks are trying to, move forward, talk about, align on. If folks are already comfortable with monthly, I think that's probably a good space. I was willing to go as quickly as that in case there was a lot, right? To dive through right off the bat. That synchronous time was better than the asynchronous. Yeah, so I'm happy with monthly as well.
Same for me. Good with monthly.
Yeah, I
Manageable.
agree. And also, yeah, you mentioned for the time slot, at least for us, we are situated in Bulgaria, so all three of us. So this time slot is, I think, okay from my perspective. It's a bit in the end of my day, but if it's a monthly meeting, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, for a monthly meeting is okay. But for example, if it's 1 hour earlier, it's probably gonna be even better. But even 11 a.m. For you guys, I think it's fine by us. We can manage.
We don't have anyone on the West Coast right now, so for now we can move it an hour earlier, and then if we have to start, all right, we're not gonna bring the biblical things into it, right? But if we start like making everyone feel a little bit of pain, we'll go there. But let's optimize for who we have now. So let's make it 10 a.m. monthly. Perfect.
Yeah, great.
All right. We'll stick with Wednesdays. So we'll aim for, I guess, it is monthly, second Wednesday of the month. All right. Cool. All right. That's that. Yeah, I guess features, releases, roadmap stuff.
Standing topics. Yeah, what are the standing topics, right? Like there's always going to be or let me rephrase. There should always be space for us to talk about things that we need to talk about as a group, right? Like the impromptu topics that don't fit the mold. Sure, I think we'll have enough time and space to have that. But I'm wondering what standing topics folks are interested in discussing on a regular cadence.
And probably, sorry guys, one question from my side, because the releases part, what's the current situation? I remember that with the infrastructure, it was a bit, let's say, hard. I'm gonna use that word, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's been tamed once again in its current invocation. To be clear, we might have to move it again with the we'd like to. We don't know when we can, right? That's more of a CFF. Let me rephrase. The can part is a CFF thing, making sure that they can absorb the cost and the transition of, the current
Yeah.
CI/CD infrastructure. Then once they say yes, there will be some, non-trivial work to
Yeah.
lift that over. But in the interim, the current infrastructure is back into a place where it is testing fine, it's releasing fine. Yeah, capable of
Yeah.
doing those things. I think there's new strategies I'd like to talk about when it comes to like dependency updates, like what sets of versions are we going to like continue to cut releases for in an automated like what things are going to have automated paths and which things are going to continue to be manual processes. And I think that's more of a concern I have at the moment, and I want to make sure that we have something stable, but I also want to make sure that we're getting enough of the forward momentum on the future looking changes that folks are wanting to make. So as we get to the like branching strategy and other things like that, I'd love to get into it, but we don't need to get into that now because we're not already at that place, right? So
just one remark over here. So for the CFN and the whole situation around funding, I guess maybe we can even involve Stefan behind this. We have a good connection with him. So if we can help somehow, we are on the way. And from infrastructure perspective and setting up the Concourse pipelines internally, we copied most of the pipelines and we worked on setting up the whole thing. So we introduced an internal Concourse built, so the whole pipeline we fixed, tweaked, etc., etc. A lot of work was done there. So at least from a pipeline perspective, we understand how and where things can break, and maybe we can help out there as well. So just marking that as we have some understanding in that topic as well.
Sure. Yeah, would love to. I think it's less of a we're trying to time it correctly. The CFF is working on like their own GCP deals and costing perspective. Right now, they're not getting the same level of discount that a bunch of us get from our corporations because the amount of money. Right. So I think they're working out like how they just worked out the GitHub Enterprise stuff. Right. So I think that's a soon concern that Chris is working on because obviously it impacts the rest of the CFFs spend in other areas. So hopefully we don't have to wait too long on that conversation. So I'll be following up with him. We can throw that in the action item that I'll follow up with Chris on the state of GCP project transition and what that looks like.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure when we get to that point, we'd welcome some of the help in setting up certain aspects of it. And then there's a bunch of things around content transfer that we'll have to run from our side because of, all the buckets and those things. Buckets are the worst. I hate buckets. I love buckets and I hate buckets. Yeah.
I remember that they say that AWS had this service which they brought a truck to load all the data from an S3 bucket and move it to another S3 bucket somewhere over the world. But yeah, it's an interesting approach.
Because it was too expensive at the time for folks to do the bits transfer. That's
yeah. So you just load up everything on a truck. And it's a service which is provided and payable.
Amazing. Okay. Back to the topic. So it sounds like features and like let's say like release let's say like supported releases next like next release like ng, I'm thinking whatever that is, whether that's a pat or sorry, whether that's like a minor or a major version that we expect to be going, like essentially those two topics, like what's our current supported release that we're all focusing on and viewing as like the stable set, like that might be one or many, the work for the next release. I imagine features are kind of like nested in that.
Yeah.
Right. Other topics. And those are kind of big buckets, right?
For topics, something that comes with
Kalin, the microphone is bad again. We're not hearing. You can use the chat if the mic is not good. But I guess maybe some of the features, let's say, at least from our side, which are important mainly is the CF API v3, because for some reason those internally landscapes are trying to get totally migrated and stop v2 altogether. Currently only Concourse is blocking this change, let's say, and we have some sort of a deadline, but this is only from our side. I mean, if we are talking in a community perspective, I guess we'll have to go into more details on the current open PRs, etc.
Yeah, we can do both. We can do both, right? Or that's part of the value of being in the contribution, right? And it's meaningful, like to be fair, like for many of the Concourse users, right? Many Concourse users are
Yeah,
better
and
users,
of
right?
course the other thing which comes to mind is this. I'm gonna say FIPS in quotes because for me it's not exactly the FIPS compliance, but this is because Azure, for some reason, or whoever is using Concourse with an Azure DB, if it just detects an algorithm like MD5, which we in Concourse also have, for some reason those databases stop working, and for me it's strange, but I'm not gonna go into details how Microsoft introduces changes. Not gonna go into that one. Yeah, this is what we saw at least.
All right, so you want to talk so CF v3 API FIPS compatibility is probably the statement there.
Yeah, I think probably that's
not
the
compliance,
better statement.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, compatibility is the thing, and then community PRs. And we can maybe add that for the next meeting, or we can. I mean, we got 30 minutes now, right? So if folks want to get into some of those things, I'm not against it. Yeah, Taylor, were there other things you wanted to cover?
Other thing that just kind of
in
came
this?
to mind was maybe
Yeah.
like governance and like people's roles in the
Yes.
community. That might be a good thing to
Yes.
kind of be clear on where is this going to go now with CF, because like there's the current governance repo in Concourse, but I'm assuming we'd want to deprecate that and switch over to whatever CFF is giving us or providing. I know there's some work in there, and there's an open PR on that side as well to deal with external GitHub organizations now, right? Do you have any idea where we're going to land with that stuff, or what kind of the end goal is going to be?
Yeah, let me give an overview of like what the current plan in flight is, and then we can have like the follow on discussion of that. So the current plan is to, as part of being in the CFF, right, and folding into and being a working group of that, we were going to use the CFF's policy and eventually tooling, right? But let's talk about the policy first. The policy is you define a working group, you define different roles and possibly groups within that working group and repositories they have relationships to for approval from an approval perspective. The expectation there is that as a result of that, the people that are listed in those working groups for those groups and mapping onto the repositories. Right now, we have one group, one subgroup, maybe two. No. We have two, one group, and then there's either a user or there's maintainer and approvers. And I think right now we just set it up so that the people that are already like at Broadcom maintaining and doing all of these things are the maintainers, and we've added the other folks as approvers. And then I think Taylor's also a lead on the group, so he'll have the same level of permissions as me or the maintainers would be my expectation from a tooling perspective. And that maps directly onto the repositories. Now, we made it all the repositories for now, right? We might at some point, subdivide parts of Concourse if there's special interests in like those different areas, but keep it simple to start with. The expectation is that the access control will become automated once the CFF's tooling is updated to handle repositories outside of the Cloud Foundry GitHub organization. I'm hoping that that's soon, aka sometime in the next month, maybe more, maybe less. They had to finish some of their RFC acceptance of the changes to kind of think about contribution in the community in that way, which they were aligned on. They just had to go through the process. Until that time, what we can and should be doing is what I would like to do, this is my plan, so you can tell me if you don't like the plan, is to deprecate the governance repository, archive it, make the people that are in the working group, give them individual permissions on the GitHub organization until that tooling comes in. I don't expect us to have sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't expect us to change membership frequently enough for that to be complicated, and we also don't have any subdivisions of like people's roles at the moment. So that was my loose plan, but I wanted to say that plan before we try to enact it and coming to this meeting. And then as soon as the CFF's tooling comes into play, we'll either undo the work we manually did to add people, or the tooling will supersede it. I'm not quite sure if that will appropriately undo things. I can tell you that Concourse's current strategy does undo things sometimes, aka I've been kicked out as an org owner once or twice from that erroneously running, and that's frustrating. But I digress. Does that sound reasonable to folks?
I guess mostly Taylor will have an opinion here from our side. Of course, this is the first time where we are going to have any sort of permissions in those repositories. So mostly we will try to do our best to at least be a present part of the community. I'm just curious, do we have any more members at the moment from the group here? Let's say, I guess the people from Broadcom, there are some personnel there who is involved again in the community.
Yeah, give me a second. So I was asked to add some people to the working groups. Give me a moment while I find the Concourse one, because my second coffee is still hitting right now.
No worries. I'm on my fourth.
Yeah, I'll get there by the end of the day. Don't worry. So there are two folks. Ivan is in there, and then someone with a GitHub handle, Kumper, Kumper.
Yep, that's Kalin.
Okay.
That's Kalin.
There was no name. There was no person's name. All right. So I did the thing, and I was like, sorry, your name is your GitHub handle, and that's on you. So please feel free to update it as a PR, and let's update it. And then if you'd like to be added as a reviewer or an approver as well, like let's go through that. I don't think that's unreasonable, folks, especially at this point in the life cycle. Having some additional people that are engaged and want to be engaged, I think is just good. And I don't have an issue adding more folks to this group in the onset. Taylor's giving a head nod, so he has no problems either with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Okay, great. So please PR to that repo if you're not already on it. And then I think I think Taylor and I end up being the approvers for that change. So, we'll
Okay.
Great. Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. Okay.
Cool. Timeline wise then, Derek, when should we even start trying to then like because the governance repo, I think as soon as we archive it, everything in there I believe happens through GitHub Actions. So we just need to
Yeah.
like archive it or just like, kill the GitHub Actions themselves and then start manually doing stuff. The only
Yep.
the tech one small technical gotcha there, which is the PR pipelines. Those I believe you can only see them if you're a member of a group that's defined by that governance repo currently. But easy fix there
Yeah.
would be like, just make the PR's pipelines public by default and just, yeah.
Yeah,
Some,
PR pipelines, and then there's some weird like association. Yeah, we need to make sure that whatever way we set up that group gives you the right permissions to view certain aspects of the pipeline,
yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
definitely. That part is
um,
probably going to be the important one because currently we only see the public pipelines normally, of course. But yeah,
mhm.
maybe to go a bit deeper and understand how things go, work under the hood, we'll need some access to those ones.
Yeah, we'll need to review, I guess just all the team mappings into the
Yeah.
main concourse cluster there, which then I think actually I don't even know, did you guys just manually deploy it last time? I know there's the infrastructure repo, and did your
Did we
team, Derek?
manually redeploy the concourse instance itself? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like were you guys just manually behind the scenes doing the Terraform applies and whatever else is? I can't
I think
remember.
we
It's a mix
reused
of
I think
stuff.
we reused Dispatcher. I think Dispatcher is the thing
Okay, good.
that repaves the
Yep.
environment. So I'm pretty sure we put that back in place before we did it, but I wasn't doing
Okay.
that, so I just heard about the doing of it. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm parroting information that should be true. But I've not seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Or used it with yeah.
Okay.
So yes, we'll from a there is work to do. So action items like so governance, maybe I'll put that in here. Update it's not just update, it's like there's some inventory the pipelines and ensure proper access to them based on org membership.
Yeah.
That is not dependent on the governance automation.
Yeah, that's good.
Those are words
Nice.
that make sense to
I
me.
understand them,
Yeah,
Derek. So
they even make a sentence.
Yes, that is important. That is good. I think those are the major components of the governance for now. When it comes to like again the GCP project access, like until that starts to move into a CFF space, that's just not going to be possible for that kind of direct access. So I think the furthest abstraction that we can get into for now, or the deepest abstraction, is the pipelines themselves. But I think that should all be pretty feasible. I don't think there's none of those should be dumping anything secretive really in nature for folks in this group. Again, that's part of the reason I said the word inventory, because I have to double check, but pretty confident.
Yeah, a quick double check here would be good so that we don't have to rotate something afterwards.
No, there's definitely no credentials that are like dumped
Mm.
out in logs, right? I'm just trying to think if there's any other definition of sensitive stuff in there.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be. This is all OSS things in these pipelines, so should be fine. Other topics. I think governance will be recurring for a little bit until we really finish integrating into the CFF wholly, fully. And ideally that topic will fall off and we'll just get into a maintainership space or we're just thinking about other folks that may want to participate from a community perspective.
Maybe from my side, I hope my mic is better.
Yeah,
because
now we...
there's construction workers near me, so it's a bit a chance. So while I have the chance to speak, my general question was for me the biggest part. So the biggest part about a community is how people think and do stuff. And since we're, at least I am really noticing going to accumulate some knowledge. Do you have any recommendations from your experience, something that might be useful for us to learn and to have? So for me, to work on a team, you have to have a common mindset or at least a common mission statement. At least with Concourse, we hit that. So I think we all have the same mindset, the same mission statement, but it would be easier if we think technology-wise as well. So my question was, how can we adapt to your current knowledge base easy, let's say, or not quick and dirty, but let's say easier for us? So how can we get the sense of how you guys work already with this community? Do you have any recommendations in that area?
So Taylor's going to have a stronger opinion on like what does the community currently feel like, because I'd say internally for us, like it was really just it was a product we were maintaining, right? Like, and I mean that in the most definitional sense of like it's, you know, it's cutting patches and getting releases of that nature, but we weren't focused on, we didn't need new things, broadly speaking, right? So we weren't building new things. I want to say, I think this is an opportunity for us to say like what we want our community interaction to be. I wouldn't say there is a lot of like current shared understanding of like how does one contribute to Concourse and become a member of Concourse, right? The community in a sense, other than like how do you ask for help and how do you have conversations about problems you're having? Like I think that's got a lot of history to that and like some current interactions there, but like what does it mean for you to get engaged and then try to become a member? Like I think is pretty open-ended and we could start to define that. Maybe Taylor, you have a stronger opinion of what that might look like.
Yeah, I don't think I have a strong opinion of what it might look like. I think I have like a lot of information. Like I'm aware of like people who are interested in different things, right? Like for example, you guys who are like part of SCP, you'll care about like for example the Bosch deployment and Bosch release a lot, for example, right? Me, I don't care about like that stuff at all. I just haven't worked with Bosch. I haven't been in environments related to Bosch for quite a long time. Like even Concourse at the end, we were deploying everything on Kubernetes, so we cared about the Helm chart a lot. And I know in general, a lot of people in the community mostly just care about the Helm chart or the binaries themselves. That's it. So there's like little pieces like that that I'm imagining like maybe there's some way we kind of carve those out. So it's like, okay, this group cares more about like this piece of the infrastructure. They care about that. Like for even like the Bosch release and stem cell resources. I'm not sure like how much like those are being used. Like for people with a Kubernetes deployment, they probably don't care about those resources at all, right? It's not relevant to them.
That actually
yeah.
might be somewhere in between, right? There's a lot of people that use the Kubernetes as a deployment mechanism, but still interact quite a bit with those resources, right?
You know what? Very good point, Eric. You're right. Yeah, stand corrected there. So yeah,
but yeah,
anyways,
no, I can see how you direct there's a mighty large intersection on these things because of the separation between the environment and then the things it's actually doing from time to time. From time to time, depends. Again, I have a narrower view of these things. But yeah, no, that makes sense.
And from our perspective, actually, we've had some work with Concourse on Kubernetes. A couple of times we tried to deploy it in our landscapes, but we faced issues. So probably if we try to do and execute this switch again, maybe now we can work from our perspective and find what those issues are and try to introduce fixes in that area. And of course, another thing which comes to mind, we are still on Guardian runtime. We were not able to switch to containerd. So one topic here is to work from our side, additionally to you, because I saw that, I mean, Kalin also pushed a lot in that area, and we are probably going to try again to switch to containerd, find the issues, and try to introduce changes in Concourse based on those findings, at least, so that we can fix it, what we see.
Cool. Yeah, trying to think what other I'm not sure if we've really answered kind of what you were
No, I
asking,
don't feel like we did.
Callan. Yeah, like I'm like, trying to think of like, yeah, mission statement stuff, like having some focus. Like, yeah, those are all really, really good things. Like, I guess right now, like I look at Concourse overall as a project, and I'm like, there's just a lot of like little like technical debt and chore stuff that kind of needs to be cleaned up, fixed, and stuff like that. Like right now, me and like my co-founders, we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on our kind of internal fork of Concourse, and we're going to be like dumping a bunch of like small PRs over the next probably couple weeks, just doing basic cleanup stuff, like even like updating the icon set, right? In the pipelines, like this is literally simple stuff like that. Like there's just like a ton of like low hanging fruit like that now at this point, just because it wasn't, yeah, just wasn't getting a lot of uh like engineering time. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Want to kind of clear the cobwebs out, and then I guess I'm hoping at that point we'll have a clear idea of like what we want to do with. Like I would start looking at the RFCs that were previously open, specifically stuff like the services RFC, the prototype RFC. But those are also things that do require a lot of like engineering effort too. They're not like, a simple thing that like I'm gonna pick up and bang out it on a weekend or something like that, right? There's a lot of even design thought that still I think has to go into uh, both of those a little bit. I haven't even like looked at them in depth. I don't have them like really loaded even in my head. So I guess
And
like maybe
I'm worried if we try to go deep on those things before some of those cobwebs are kicked out and like dependency and like some of those interfaces that are getting pretty stale and like could really be a major thorn in trying to do that kind of work. I expect,
exactly.
let me rephrase, I expect it's a major thorn in trying to do any of that work.
Yeah, that's kind of
Sorry, I
the
cut you
same.
off.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That's the exact same expectation that I have there, Derek. It's yeah, exactly that. I want to revisit it when I feel like the code base is in like a healthier spot again, and then be like, all right, cool. Now we're at a point where it's like, okay, it's not like a ton of chores and stuff like that. We can like keep rolling ahead with like kind of feature development because there's still like some pain points that people have and stuff. And yeah, you can figure out like how do we want Concourse to continue evolving and stuff. I've seen people even pitch around ideas of like how could Concourse even move away from pipeline defined YAML. Some people like that, some people don't, right? Yeah, crazy stuff like that, right? So it's like tons of like, yeah, people will have ideas. But yeah,
Yeah, we from our side we even built at some point last year an AI automation, sorry, AI wrapper, let's say, the fancy stuff for AI tools. An AI tool which actually fixed the pipeline definition based on the output of Concourse. So if the output from Concourse was, I mean, image fetching failed for some reason, analyze the pipeline, fix the pipeline, upload it back, etc. I mean, it was working at some point. Had some tweaking here and there, but yeah, did the job. But yeah,
nice. Cool. All right. I don't think we're gonna have a good concrete answer right now, Colin, but that's kind of at least, I guess, Derek and I, that's where our thoughts are when it comes to a lot of that stuff right now, right? Chores, tech debt, and then maybe a couple months down the line, we'll have a clearer idea of like where we want the project to go.
Did you already put some of these things as like open issues on the public concourse for folks to like? I know you did the issue cleanup, but I didn't look at the new issues like to um rationalize there. I'm wondering if that's a place folks could be engaged if they're trying to like get a foothold, right? And like, what are we thinking about right now?
Yeah, there's probably still like a bit of cleanup that could happen there. I guess I do have a bunch of issues kind of flagged short term here. I think everybody should be able to see this actually. Oops, where'd my window go? Here. I think everyone should be able to see that GitHub project board there. So it's kind of a roadmap that like I'm the only one using this right now, but it's a roadmap put together for myself, trying to keep track of like, okay, what PRs do I need to like review and stuff like that? What issues am I like personally going to try and like work on next and stuff? But these are technically things like even if you guys, and maybe this is a thing that we review every meeting as well. But yeah. And yeah, most of this stuff is just like clean up stuff, try and fix stuff, make it better.
Yeah, that actually looks quite good to at least in the meetings go through something, see where we are, and yeah, move forward somehow. Looks like a potential approach to this. I like this one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm really not like I know Derek, like for you guys, it's pretty much just maintenance. Like I know if you guys get a security alert, that's probably the only time you guys are gonna like really like have the team working on anything, I think, right? As far as your side goes.
I guess
I'd say right now I'm
security.
not particularly.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you're asking me, like, am I looking at new features and functionality as something important to us? Not really, right? There aren't things we need right now, like the V2, the V3 API change is something we care about, right? For CF FIPS compatibility, we care about those things. But if you're talking, like, the more interesting thing is like when it comes to Concourse features, like what type of change, what are the breaking changes associated with that? What are the paradigm shifts that we need to be concerned about? And what are the ways we might be able to leverage it, right? But like there aren't a set of needs that we're individually looking to fill right now. To your point. Cool. Happy to be a sounding board though.
No, that would be great. That alone would be really good. Okay.
Yeah, I
I
guess
don't think I
from
have
our
anything
side there are
else.
some features which came to mind because I mean in the past we have had several different things, but yeah, those things maybe we can open at some point or discuss in this meeting. But first of all, yeah, let's get the thing rolling back with the infrastructure, the pipelines, have constant releases so that we can have everything working back in place and clear the technical debt. And from that point, maybe we can start working on any sort of features, etc. I guess those will come up at some point. But now, yeah, for now, let's clear the important parts.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
We got a couple of action items, got a couple of things. Do we want to make so for conversations related to this working group, do we want to have this on Discord? Do we want to have it here? Because since the next plan is to meet monthly, I don't expect ideally at least a couple of these things to take a month to update or us to have more follow-on conversations. Do folks want to have that in Discord or in the Slack channel? Or
Sorry, Slack channel. I'm not sure if there is a Slack channel from my side at least. The Discord.
there
I
is.
only have.
It
Cloud
does
Foundry,
exist.
Slack.
We're only part of the Discord for
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's just do Discord then.
Yeah,
Okay.
Discord's great. I think it's good.
Sounds good.
Taylor, we should edit the. Okay, it is edited. I was like, we should edit the Cloud Foundry description to point you at the Discord, and it's the second line. All right, so that's why I had to.
Yeah, I know you have to hover over it before you can see it.
It's fine. It's still better than GChat.
There you go. Oof.
It's getting better, but it's still bad. It's still very bad. Okay. Anything else folks want to cover?
Nothing from my side at least. Maybe in the next meeting, I guess we'll have some more. At least until then, if you have anything towards us, I'm not sure where is better for you guys to have a communication, open channel, let's say for this. Is it the Discord or something somewhere else?
Discord's great. Should we make a working group channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That might make sense. I'm just looking at the open channels. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll make a working group channel, I guess. And make that public, right? Just by default.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see a
that's fine.
reason it shouldn't, like, this is public. There's no reason it
Yeah.
shouldn't be public, but
Yeah.
people also like I don't want folks to get inundated by crosstalk, right? When they
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
I can set that up. Actually, I just remembered the governance repo does also manage the Discord as well, like for
Is it-
assigning like memberships and roles. That'll be another thing to figure out. Yeah.
The
That
governance
repo, man.
topic will take some time.
Well, we might still need to keep some of that then, right? If we
Mm.
want to
Yeah.
but it'll have to have a different way of thinking about it.
Yes. All right. We'll figure that out at some point. Okay. Gave that action
Yeah.
item to myself there.
Okay.
To make the channel.
Probably, yeah, the channel is gonna be public, so yeah, I guess there's not need for our handles in Discord for in any way, so we'll find each other there.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Cool.
Nothing more from my side, at least for now.
All right. No one else has
Awesome.
anything?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
thanks for the meeting. It's good to map the avatar to a face, right? So now at least we
Agreed.
did that. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can see each other on some CF day someday.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I want to get back
Mm.
on the conference circuit at some point
Mm.
myself. It'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
Okay. Thanks for meeting,
All right.
guys. It was a pleasure.